we wrote everything down from this year with you and sold it to Hollywood as a movie script, they think it's too far-fetched. They wouldn't believe it.
Crazy.
It's not. I mean, it is, but it isn't. You know what I mean? Like, this shit is just
like,
crazy.
Yeah, I was like, holy I really did this. And just me, I did all these. And then the motorcycle chases, I don't know how many I did in that.
In the fall of 2015, a Wisconsin man embarked on a frightening multi-state crime spree. His weeks-long reign of terror involved armed robberies, thefts, numerous high-speed chases, assaults, and murder. His violent rampage left an entire community on edge. Schools went into lockdown, residents double-locked their doors, and the streets were deserted. The ensuing manhunt required more law enforcement resources than any other in the county's history. By the time it ended, he faced over 30 charges and was described by one prosecutor as the most wanted fugitive in Kenosha County history. Let's dive in. Andrew Obregon was born on March 18, 1983. And he was Kenosha County through and through. Raised on his family's farm, he knew every inch of the local cornfields, a fact that would become crucial later. He went to Central High School, but academics didn't matter much to Obregon. He hardly ever showed up. His attendance problems were so bad that David Beth, the school's resource officer, had to drive to Obregon's house every morning to drag him to class. Although Officer Beth would go on to become the sheriff of Kenosha County, his relationship with Obregon would continue in a far more adversarial fashion. Officer Beth had a front row seat to Obregon's downfall. What started as skipping classes evolved into something much darker. It began with property crimes to fuel a crack addiction. Obregon first entered the Kenosha County Correctional System as a juvenile in 1999 for burglary. As an adult, the charges kept piling up. There was a conviction for theft in 2012 and another in 2013, followed by receiving stolen property the same year. He got 2 years probation. By March 2015, Obregon had stopped attending meetings with his parole officer and a warrant was issued for his arrest. Later that month, deputies made contact and pulled him over, but true to form, Obregon had his own plans.
How you doing, sir?
Good, how you doing, officer?
Pretty good. I'm actually stopping you because you're driving 45 in a 35 zone. I'm going to need to see your driver's license, registration, and proof of insurance, please.
Sure. Here's my driver's license. I think I got my insurance over here.
Were you aware how fast you were going?
No, to be honest with you, I wasn't. Too nice of a day, I wasn't paying attention.
Do you happen to know what the speed?
As deputies began questioning him, Obregon fled, disappearing into the cornfields. The uneven terrain, with patches of hard dirt and soft mud, would typically make such an escape difficult, especially at high speeds. But Obregon knew these fields like the back of his hand. It was his home turf, and he repeatedly used it to his advantage, slipping away from officers. He was later charged with fleeing police, obstructing an officer, and criminal damage to property. A warrant was subsequently issued for his arrest. On September 19th, Obregon met with 37-year-old Taiwan Anderson in Kenosha. He had bought drugs from Anderson in the past and was looking to score again. According to sources, however, the meeting was contentious. 2 days later, on September 21st, Anderson was reported missing by his family. As the last known person to see Anderson alive, Obregon was considered a person of interest. Police were highly concerned because despite Obregon's criminal history, if the allegations were true, the Anderson homicide would represent a severe escalation of his crimes, and he needed to be stopped as soon as possible. 5 days after he was reported missing, Anderson's remains were found in a cornfield. As the search for Obregon intensified, deputies learned that Obregon's mother had recently met with him at a local business to give him $100. She gave him another $100 just 2 days later. Additionally, police received a report that a black Ford Mustang had been stolen. Local deputies spotted it soon after, triggering another high-speed chase.
Did you see a black Mustang? I'm not sure what to do. They won't tell me where they're at.
Obregon pushed the Mustang to 120 miles per hour, recklessly flying through school zones and intersections, and once again managed to escape. But law enforcement wasn't giving up. Later that evening, a deputy paid a visit to Obregon's mother's house. By the time the conversation was over, she was walked out of the home in handcuffs and charged with obstructing the investigation and suspicion of aiding her fugitive son. Deputies hoped the arrest would serve as leverage in bringing her son's crime spree to an end. By October 4th, tension in the community was at an all-time high. Residents feared an increasingly desperate, drug-fueled killer was roaming freely and wondered who would be his next victim.
Kenosha County is buzzing with reports of the latest crime spree linked to this man, Andrew Obregon. First, a smash-and-grab burglary at this gas station. Right after, an armed robbery at Speedway. The suspect then led deputies on a chase through a cornfield.
I seen lights coming through the window of the house, and I looked outside, and here's a big-looking truck sitting in the yard. I thought, what is this, you know? Deputies
chased after Obregon, who was in a stolen Ford SUV. He weaved a chaotic path around Chuck Maurer's property. Hitting this culvert didn't slow him down.
If he'd have hit that, he'd have been up there in the tree somewhere.
This is just one slice of the path of destruction he left behind. Corn left here on the ground, but the rampage doesn't end here. He covered a lot of ground, huh, Chuck?
Oh, this is only part of it.
The bumpy ride finally came to a halt, stopped by this fence.
Here's where the Ford Explorer ended up at. He couldn't get through here no more. I think the wheel got behind there, and he couldn't back up here. So they tell me he jumped out of it, went over there, went through that field on foot.
The sheriff also telling me today that that suspect went on to then steal a white van. Now, investigators have received several tips, but Shannon, still no sign of their man.
After the armed robbery at Speedway, extra patrols were placed around schools, and reinforcements from Racine and Kenosha counties were called in. On October 11th, a $5,000 reward was offered for tips leading to Obregon's capture, as local media continued to update community members.
And we're standing outside of the Kenosha County Center, Tim, which is where the sheriff has been giving us updates all throughout this search. And then overnight, they also posted on their Facebook page, they have pictures of Obregon, and also there's some information here about that latest sighting, which was just hours ago, and that's what really ramped up the search on the ground and by air. Now, that happened as officials tried to pull over a pickup truck last night in the town of Brighton. The driver, who they believed to be Obregon, took off on foot. That prompted an air search with a helicopter, but so far, Obregon has managed to slip away again, and Sheriff David Beth says the longer this manhunt goes on, the more dangerous it becomes for the community.
Andy Obregon, I'm sure, is armed, and we consider him to be very dangerous, and I would use every precaution necessary. And there's nothing that you and your family possess that's worth your life or anyone in your family's life.
Residents were on edge, fearing who he might target next and when his high-speed chases would endanger innocent lives. On October 13th, those fears became reality. Obregon broke into a home in Brighton where he found an elderly woman alone. He attacked her, leaving her with severe facial injuries. Despite the assault, she managed to call 911.
October 13, 2015.
Kenosha 911, what's going on?
Andrew Obregon, he just punched me in my house. I'm Route 75.
Is he still there?
He just ran out the door.
And so he punched you in the face? Do you need,
do you need
rescue? Do you need rescue?
Yes.
Hang on.
I need the police.
You take a deep breath, okay? With you yelling in the phone, it's hard to hear you, okay? Do you want rescue, yes or no?
I want the police.
Okay. I have the address. I need you to listen to my questions, though, okay?
Yeah.
That was a no that you don't want rescue, correct?
Right.
Okay, we are sending deputies. I'm just going to ask you a couple more questions. Do you know what direction he went?
I don't know. I can't get the garage door open.
Okay.
He took off with my car.
Okay, what kind of vehicle was it?
Chevy Silver Spark.
Okay, hang on one second. Okay, so it was silver Chevy Spark. What license plate? And you don't know what direction?
No, because he closed the garage door.
Okay. How do you know him?
I don't know him. I know him by the papers. He was in my house.
Knows him by the papers. So he's still in your house, or is he gone?
He's gone in my car.
Okay, take a deep breath, okay? We are getting deputies on the way, but I need you to calm down, okay?
Help me.
I understand we have deputies on the way, okay?
Okay.
Just stay on the line with me, okay? When did he get there? How long ago was he there?
I don't know.
Can you stop yelling at me, okay? I need you to take a deep breath. I understand that you're scared. I understand that you're concerned. But I need you to stop yelling in the phone, okay?
Okay.
Just try to take a deep breath, okay?
Okay.
We do have several deputies on the way. Can you see out any window, or do you know
He's
any?
gone. I just opened the garage door.
Okay, he is gone, okay. And you don't know what direction he went, though?
No.
How did he get into your Chevy Spark? Did he take the keys from you, or?
He grabbed the keys. They fell out of my pocket when he punched me.
Okay. But you've never met him before?
No.
Okay. Stay on the line with me. Like I said, we have several deputies on the way.
You probably lost them already.
I just want to make sure you don't want any rescue, just the deputies, right?
Right.
Okay, I just want to make sure that you're not hurt, that you're okay. Are all your doors locked now?
Well, I thought they were. He said he got in through the garage.
Okay. Can you make sure everything is closed up so he doesn't try to come back and hurt you?
Well, he's got my garage door opener.
Yeah, stole the car. Like I said, just try to stay calm. I don't want you yelling at the officers when they get there, okay? Are there any fields around you that he may have gone to or anything like that?
Not off my property. It's got soybeans.
Okay. So we do have several deputies that are also checking the area, everything like that. So I just want to keep you in line in case he tries to come back, anything like that, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Yo. Where was your phone? Was it in your pocket or was it in your vehicle?
I dialed 911 when he started throwing me around when he had his back turned, threw me down the basement steps.
Okay, you're doing a good job. Like I said, this is very helpful for us, so I appreciate you giving us a call right away. So you're doing a good job.
Are they looking for him?
Yes, they are all checking the area first. We have several deputies on this.
Please catch him.
We have, like I said, we have several deputies on this. We are trying to look at your phone number, see if we can get a location on it as well.
Obregon stole the homeowner's car and fled to Lake County, Illinois, about a half-hour drive away. Law enforcement tracked the car through its OnStar navigation system. Coordinating with OnStar, officers had the vehicle remotely slowed to 5 miles per hour. Realizing his options were running out, Obregon jumped out of the car and a foot chase ensued. During the pursuit, he was shot in the arm, sustaining a non-life-threatening injury. Shortly after, officers released the canine, allowing them to quickly close in and make an arrest. The entire scene was captured on a bystander's cell phone. The 911 caller was airlifted to a trauma center for treatment of serious injuries. Obregon was treated at a local hospital and then booked into Lake County Jail. He didn't contest extradition and was quickly transferred from Illinois to Kenosha County Jail. After weeks of drug-fueled chaos, injured victims, countless stolen cars, robberies, getting shot, and risky high-speed chases, Andrew Obregon was finally behind bars. Just 2 days after his capture, he was subjected to interrogation. With the mountain of evidence stacked against him, detectives weren't trying to build a case, they were just trying to fill in the blanks. But what they were most concerned about initially was the location of a gun that Obregon tossed during one of his high-speed chases. It posed an immediate public safety risk and could be used in further crimes if found by someone else. So they began the questioning by reminding him that they had his mother behind bars.
Remember me?
Yeah, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good.
This is John Hasselbrink. I was in here the other day.
How you doing?
So, feeling better? Feeling worse?
Doing like crap today.
Yeah. I imagine pain or what?
Everything. Thought, pain, anxiety, everything.
I'm sure. How's the arm?
Can't even move it.
No. It looks pretty swollen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's all I can.
That's all you can do.
Yeah, I barely bend my fingers or nothing. I can't even do shit. Empty.
All right. Well, I'm glad to see you again. John and I wanted to talk to you some more because a lot of stuff that you told me and Detective Santelli from the other night panned out. I mean, you've been really cooperative and telling us a lot of good stuff, and the stuff that you told us is true. A lot of the stuff you told us is true. Mm-hmm. So we talked to the DA yesterday. I think it was yesterday. One of the ADAs about trying to work on getting your mom out. That's what we're hoping to do, because now that you're in custody, your mom is no longer able to do anything, I guess, that would help you remain a fugitive. So her being in jail right now doesn't help anybody. We don't feel it's necessary. Yeah. It's not necessarily our call, but we don't feel it's necessary.
So
we're working on trying to get her out, because I know that it's been a rough go for her being in jail, just talking to other family members and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I don't want her to sit in jail any longer than she has to. So, hopefully that eases your mind a little bit, that we're working, trying to do stuff. I know it's going to be a rough go of it in here, especially, coming off drugs and dealing with the anxiety of everything going on, and just with court and everything going on. I know there's a lot to it.
At least if your mom's out of custody, she can come see you.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's one thing we're gonna try and help you with. So, like I said, we want to clarify a couple things. I know it was kind of a late night the other night, so it was kind of fuzzy and cloudy on a couple of things, but a couple of things we want to clarify. Especially with that gun, because we're trying to find it, but we can't, and we're concerned about it being out there. So that's one of the things that we want to talk about. But what I need to do, because you're in custody right now, is that form that you did the other night, the waiver of your rights. I need to read you your rights again, and then sign that form again to waive your rights, so I can ask you some questions. Now, that doesn't mean you have to answer everything I ask of you. but at least then I can talk to you. You understand?
Yeah.
Okay. So are you okay with me reading
Well,
the...
a couple of my attorneys said not to talk to you guys unless they're present with me.
Okay, well, I know attorneys always advise their clients. That's always their stance. But it's your individual choice about whether or not you want to talk to us. So I'm leaving that up to you.
The detectives asked Obregon to waive his Miranda rights, to which he responded, "A couple of my attorneys said not to talk to you guys unless they're present with me." Later, in an appeal, Obregon challenged the validity of the interrogation and requested that the court suppress all of his statements. However, the appellate court found that although he argued his statements were invalid due to being under the influence of drugs and in significant pain from a dog bite and gunshot wound, he never actually claimed that he made an unequivocal and unambiguous invocation of his right to remain silent. Therefore, since he didn't raise the issue, the appellate court didn't address it, and the appeal was denied on the basis of the other claims.
I mean, what's it about?
Well, like I said, I'm trying to kind of clarify.
Narrowing down, because there was 8 of us out there walking the other day. I mean, I can't get too much into it but we were out there walking through the woods and lifting up, weeds and grass and tree branches and shit like that for a good 4 hours, and we couldn't find it. So if you could help us just narrow down where to look.
Because we were thinking, even if we used, possibly use Google Earth,
maybe show you around, something like that.
Because I gotta assume there's like a landmark or something that you would recognize.
Well, up though, I know. Going 100 miles an hour,
I know. But, I mean, we're just hoping you'd be willing to give it another try, because we don't want somebody else to find it and get hurt. Do you understand? I mean, it's kind of important if we can get that. I mean, it's dangerous just sitting there right now. Some kid going for a bike ride or whatever sees it, and
so that's what we're trying to do. I hope at no time did you ever think, like on Monday night when I was talking to you, that I was tricking you or I was doing anything to make you feel like I wasn't being completely honest with you. I mean, I have nothing to hide from you. I will answer any question you have. I'll respect you as much as you respect me. So that is all I need.
We just want to limit what happens from this point on. You know what I mean? And right now we have something pretty dangerous that we can't find, and we want to find it.
So it's got like also smoking and stupid shit, freaking out now on my medication.
Would you be willing to give it a shot, though?
To like what? Look
at maybe a computer screen. Like it would almost look like we're driving down that street. If we can get that up and running, it would look like we're driving down that street. And if something jumps out and you say, "Yeah, I remember that," you can tell us it's going to be somewhere near that, so we don't have to walk the 2-3 miles through the woods with metal detectors, just praying that we find it. We'll actually have a starting point.
I could.
Okay. But I need to still read your rights, though.
As the dialogue continued, Obregon walked the detectives through the litany of crimes he'd committed: armed robberies, stealing vehicles again and again, and leading police on multiple reckless high-speed chases. Detectives suggested he might have actually enjoyed outsmarting law enforcement, relishing the chaos he caused. Then, in an odd twist, Obregon made a brazen request that appeared to catch the detectives off guard.
You're having fun with this, aren't you?
Be honest. What you tell me? I'm the judge. I'm going to go crazy. I went crazy.
I saw that. Because that was the next day we got called into work. Because normally we don't work weekends.
Nothing to have in the Explorer, fucking this, that, I went nuts.
Because then there's the
3-4 different cars that night.
Yeah.
Or between the Explorer and the other, you know, was going crazy.
The van.
Van,
You went from the Explorer to the van to the Dakota to the Dually. All within like 3 hours, 4 hours.
I'm smoking that shit. I was, man, it's fucking just.
When I got, because
crazy.
Friday was a car chase, and then Friday was the day your mom went to jail, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it was Saturday morning. Saturday morning? Sunday morning. So like a day passes, and then Sunday morning at like 3 o'clock in the morning, John and I got called into work because they said, Andy is tearing up the county. He broke into the countryside market, and then he went over to Speedway, around the Speedway. Now he's in a car chase, and we think he's in a field.
And then
crashed the Explorer.
While we're investigating that crash with the Explorer, we hear some guys reporting that his fucking van was just stolen, that he just put the keys in it, and we're like, are you fucking kidding me?
Oh my God, this guy's killing me.
And then like the next day we find out, oh, now there's a Dakota taken from the city. And then a couple days later, we find out the dually was involved. So we thought maybe you stole the dually up in Racine.
I wanted, like I said, I was fucking bought $400 worth of shit and fucking went retarded.
Oh, so you spent that full $400 on
crack?
Crack?
That's a lot of crack, isn't it?
Yeah. But that money I had in my pocket, though, what'd you guys do with that money again when I got shot? Is that in evidence or something?
Probably in evidence, yeah.
No way I get, that's never coming back, because that was this money you got.
I don't know how that happens.
Is it in evidence down here or something?
Yeah. It's not our,
yeah. It was only like $70, but.
Andy, I got 2 things for you, okay? First thing is, no. So I'll have 3 things for you. Right now I got 2. The lady was released from the hospital today. She's okay. Thank God. All right? We got confirmation on that, all right? So she's good. The other thing is, we got approval. We're going to take you for a drive. Okay? You said you'd be able to point us to the direction where
right now?
to look. Yeah.
Right now?
Yes.
Can I pee? Can you get me a soda before we go?
I don't know if I can grab you another soda, because I don't know if I have enough money. But I'm sure you'd be able to use the bathroom before we come in. Yeah, I just don't know where. Yeah, I'm sure that
wouldn't be an issue at all. They're going to check on the court. I just asked about it, and they're going to figure all that out. So.
No way, you guys grab me a nice soda before you go?
Yeah, we could probably get you a soda, can't we?
I have 50 cents.
Following the interrogation, Obregon helped officers locate the firearm he disposed of. He confessed to the murder of Taiwan Anderson, and the state filed a 32-count criminal complaint in the Kenosha County Circuit Court. At his initial hearing, Kenosha County District Attorney Michael Gravely requested the court set an extraordinary bond.
Your Honor, the state is requesting that the court set what I believe to be the highest bond in this county's history, which would be $5 million. There has been one other bond set at that height. I believe that $5 million bond, that unprecedented bond, other than the one other situation, is appropriate because Mr. Obregon presents himself in court today as, from the state's perspective, the most wanted fugitive in this county's history. The court is aware that this set of allegations in the complaint describes the events from September 21st till October 13th. I believe that's 22 days, where literally the entirety of southeastern Wisconsin was chilled, specifically in terms of the lifestyle and the way people felt they could behave around their own homes in this part of the state. It literally changed the habits of virtually everyone residing in southeastern Wisconsin. I have yet to come across someone who hasn't discussed this Obregon case by telling me the way they specifically changed their life and behavior during those 22 days. And from the state's perspective, that is the most significant thing that, in terms of impact, that this case has had on the community as a whole. This is an individual, Your Honor, who in that 22 days fled from law enforcement deliberately 5 times. He began that on September 21st when the allegation is on top of a stolen motorcycle. He used the phrase directly facing a law enforcement officer, "Catch me if you can," and then fled from that officer, and that officer was not able to catch him on September 21st. Then on October 2nd, October 4th, and October 6th, while more law enforcement resources than have ever been used in a manhunt in the history of this county were being utilized, the defendant fled all 3 of those additional occasions in stolen vehicles from Kenosha law enforcement, fleeing into rural fields and hiding essentially on the property and near the residences of other individuals who reside in this community. And on each of those occasions, stolen vehicles are eventually found which match the fleeing conduct that the defendant himself admits in the interviews to law enforcement. Finally caught on the 5th fleeing occasion on October 13th, and it's important to talk to the court about what finally stopped this manhunt, what finally stopped the crime spree that spread this kind of fear throughout this community and the communities nearby. This defendant, Your Honor, was literally not stopped until he was shot by law enforcement and directly apprehended and brought down by a Zion police dog. Even after his car had been disabled, he fled again for more than a mile in rural fields, and only because of those extraordinary law enforcement measures was he finally caught. Those measures had not been utilized previously in this same fashion. As the court, I think, is aware, the satellite technology was used to disable this particular vehicle. This is an individual who in those 22 days changed plates of stolen vehicles multiple times, spray painted vehicles to be sure that law enforcement could not find him, robbed individuals who were clerks at stores, broke into individual home and another retail establishment in this community, virtually left for dead a woman who was simply returning to a home she had not been in the last few days. Fled all of the times I've mentioned, and in fact involved his own family directly in trying to assist him in staying at large during this whole period of time. Virtually no activity has not been utilized or tried by this individual, who used a variety of deceptive techniques to try to prevent law enforcement from catching him. His prior record is significant. He has 3 prior felony convictions as an adult. He was convicted in Walworth County of theft, was originally placed on probation in that case, was revoked on that felony probation in June of 2012, and was placed in the prison system, was released from the prison system in the fall of 2013, and was on extended supervision. So was to be supervised as an individual who had recently been released from prison when this case occurs. In fact, Your Honor, he's been an absconder from that extended supervision, what we used to call parole, since March of 2015. So for half a year, this defendant has escaped the jurisdiction of the Department of Corrections, having been in prison most recently before that occasion. He has not yet started his felony probations, which are consecutive on a Racine theft felony conviction, as well as a receiving stolen property felony conviction in Racine. So he has those multiple felonies. They are all property crimes. From the state's perspective, it is of interest that none of those, even though he's a lifelong resident of Kenosha County, none of these prior crimes have occurred in Kenosha County. He does have a juvenile adjudication for burglary in '99 that was a Kenosha County case. So this is an individual who, for a half a year before this crime spree, had essentially been an absconder from extended supervision and would have been returned to prison at any point he was found during that period of time. The court's aware that the other file that was in warrant status, 15 CF 575, is an additional fleeing case. That is the case that begins the warrant for his arrest, that is his absconder status since March of 2015. The court has reviewed this complaint. You see that the maximum penalties in this set of charges that are presented today is life plus 439 years. And I would suggest to the court, with the strength of the case and with the seriousness of these allegations and the dramatic and traumatic impact this has had on this community, that the chances Mr. Obregon will spend another day out of custody in his life are very slim. And so he has the maximum incentive to run. He certainly has a track record of recent vintage, which is the most significant avoidance of law enforcement in the history of this county. So I believe that historic bond is appropriate. Would ask the court for that $5 million cash bond to be imposed.
A Wisconsin judge agreed with Gravely's request, and bond was set at $5 million cash only. In the end, Obregon was offered and accepted a plea agreement with the state and pleaded guilty to 6 offenses, including first-degree homicide and attempted first-degree homicide for the assault on the 911 caller. The remaining counts were dismissed and read in. When a dismissed charge is read in, that means it can be considered for sentencing purposes. Obregon took the plea deal in hopes of receiving leniency in sentencing. But this didn't work out for him, as he was sentenced to the maximum penalty of life in prison without the possibility of parole anyway. He wasn't pleased with this decision and directed a few pleasantries toward the judge.
Andrew, that's why your wife left you?
Andrew Obregon now serves his life sentence at the Columbia Correctional Institution in Portage, Wisconsin. Once a fugitive who kept Kenosha County on edge, evading law enforcement in high-speed chases and hiding in familiar fields, he's now permanently confined, stripped of the freedom he once exploited. With a life sentence and no possibility of parole, the same system he tried to outrun has locked him away for good, ensuring that Obregon will spend the rest of his days in prison, far from the community he terrorized. This is the ultimate end to a reign of chaos that gripped an entire county, bringing final closure to a story that, for weeks, seemed like it might never end.